I am Shan Rose, your District 5 City Commissioner. So, District 5 starts downtown and it goes all the way to Metro West. It includes Piermore, it includes the downtown high rises, West Lakes community, Ivy Lane, Malibu, New Malibu, Timberleaf, all of Kirkman, the Willows, Mercy Drive. So it's a larger community. I live in the Piermore neighborhood, and so I always tell folks, Piermore will be taken care of because I had to take care of at home first. But I am intentional about serving the rest of this district. Whether I'm downtown grabbing something to eat, I'm at a great one of the business venues, whether we're providing assistance for new businesses. We literally just had a great testimony of a business moving in that used to be a ghost kitchen that moved into a whole brick and mortar store. Crime is down 27% since I've been elected. 27. Homicides are down, shootings are down. We have increased our youth programming, we've increased our senior programming, but there's so much more that we have to do together and we have to accomplish. $1.2 million in upskilling. So I'm very, very intentional on how do I make you better? How do I improve your quality of life? How do I help make your dreams a reality? No matter how old or how young, you can always start a new chapter in your life. We have been at football games with our kids. We've been at an after school program. I'm proud to say we've even started a middle school program with our youth. District 5 is on the rise, and I want to make sure that we continue to rise together. In the Piermore community, a lot of the social services are where individuals come, whether they're going to the shelter or they're going to the Christian Service Center to get information about ending homelessness. And so that's a big priority for us, making sure that no one sleeps on the streets at night. It takes a lot of collaboration, partnership, and so we're really, really big on ending homelessness. We don't believe that anyone should sleep outside at night. What that means is making sure that we put our tax dollars towards affordable housing opportunities. So we've got a couple that are coming out the ground. One of the ones that's important that a lot of folks don't know, the most rapid housing group are 55 and up. And so we've got to do a big focus on our seniors as things continue to rise. So we've got a couple of senior affordable housing projects and developments that are coming up, and I'm very committed to that. And so folks ask, like, why? Well, I mean, when we think about it, like the people who have paved the way for us have created a life and created our community. They deserve somewhere decent to live, and they shouldn't be sleeping on the street. So that's a piece of it. We also have committed to putting funds into housing rehabilitation. So since I've been in office, $1.2 million has gone to housing rehabilitation. So that's helping with roofs, windows, doors, and so making sure that people stay in their homes. And that's important for us. And folks may say, why? Well, we want to make sure that you can age in place. No matter how old or how young you are, if you committed to purchasing a home, you can stay there, and we're going to help uplift you. And that's the key piece to what I'm focused on. It's not just about like giving you something, say, well, I'm just going to give you some doors. No, I'm going to give you an opportunity to stay in place. I'm going to give you an opportunity to have a better quality of life, have better income. That's what I've been focused on. Yeah, I do the backpacks and I do the turkeys and we do Christmas and toys, but can I help you sustain no matter what happens in our community? And that is definitely a big focus for me, making sure that you can live exactly where you are, but you can rise as things go up, as the cost of living goes up. You can still afford to live where you are. So the environment is a key role in everything that we do. So protecting wetlands and different parts of our community is important. I'm proud to say, and the most folks would never know, is that the Kia Center is 100% with solar. That is something that we have not talked about recently, that we have been developing. So when the solar farm was created by OUC, we left a portion of the grid to be specifically for the Kia Center. What's important is that we have started a tree equity program. So we realize shade creates an opportunity for people to go outside. Our summers are getting hotter and hotter. So we have a new tree equity program that we're doing on the west side where we're placing trees, and not just regular trees. So we're giving people the options for fruit trees. So what we're realizing is not only is there a food insecurity, but we're creating shade in the process. So we're helping people be good stewards. We're very intentional on community gardens within homes. When people reach out, we're also encouraging our neighborhood centers to all have community gardens. And one of the things that policy-wise that I have been, every developer that comes in, I ask them, can you please create a section for a community garden? And it doesn't necessarily have to be from the ground. You can create a tub, but if you create the opportunity, especially when we have older seniors and older residents living, giving them a space to get out their homes. I don't think the average person has actually spent time in a senior facility. And it's a lonely place when your family, well, some people don't even have family. Like, let's just start there, right? But if you're a senior, you know, your kids are off or your grandkids off, maybe you see them on the weekends, but giving them activities and different things. So when you create a garden, it's a place right at home that they could go outside, they can get fresh air, they can get some sunlight, get some vitamin D, but also have a place in a space that's theirs. And so that's policies that we're looking at, is highly encouraging community gardens within our developments. And one of the centers has a year-round pool, which means it's open most of the year and it has heating in it. I've made sure that we're at 100% of all of our youth that go to that after-school program have swim lessons. And so when folks be like, they're like, why? Well, most apartment complexes, they may not have a pool, but they have a retention pond. And so that's part of the environment, making sure that our children are safe, making sure that they know how to swim, and that, you know, we're using the pool. The pool isn't just sitting there, you know, being clean and no one is using it. Environment is important to us. I would say there's always a talk of, you know, the Paramore community has a lot of brownfields, which has a lot of contamination. Well, what we have been intentional is making sure we clean up where we can. When we find out that there's development, environmental is a part of any development that we have. I don't think that you can change what is around us, but we can make adjustments as we move forward as a community. So how do we build better communities? How do we make sure that we're protecting all of our residents and we're making them even just aware? Hey, just to know, you know, there might be noise here, and looking at ways that you put it in your lease. So like in some of the places downtown, they let folks know, hey, you are down. It's like written in your lease, hey, you live downtown, so there will be noise. And so it's important, like, you know, letting folks know, hey, you're moving into the West Lakes community. There is a Camping World Stadium. There could be a potential that 100,000 people may be here one weekend. I'm intentional on communication is also important as we talk about the environment, because when people think environment, most folks just think like air pollution. Well, noise pollution and traffic pollution is also a thing. So I'm very, very intentional on telling folks, hey, there's going to be a road closure. Hey, look out for this. A couple weeks ago, you know, we had Chris Brown, and I made sure there was a notification. These roads are going to be closed. Get there early. And so communication is key in everything that you do, no matter what subject you're on and what subject you're talking about.
Now, we're going to highlight that the fruit trees piece, because that for Caribbean folks is such a big deal, and it really is an intentional thing.
I was impressed with the whole Kia Center. I didn't know it was 100% solar. That's pretty dope.
You know, where we went to get our grant, I can't remember the places off of Orange, Blossom Trail, one of the new community centers. I mean, it's a couple of years old, but Sam is an environmental engineer.
Mm-hmm.
So all those lakes, he was part of cleaning up.
Mm-hmm.
And so as we sat and just looked at all of the birds and everything on those lakes, and just remembering how all by holding he was part of that cleanup project.
Mm-hmm. So that's why I say, like, you know, folks get stuck on, you know, oh, there's this kind of pollution and that kind of pollution. I mean, it happened, right? The most we can do is educate folks and say, hey, maybe here's your peak times of the day. Maybe you avoid going outside at these times because there will be congestion. There's going to be extra gas emissions, right? But you can only move forward. And I think that's what this entire community has to realize. There's a lot of hurt and there's a lot of pain, from a soccer stadium that's in the middle of the Paramore community to venues that folks feel like they never were a part of. We got to move forward. You can't look back. We can't argue. We can't fight our way through this. But what we can do is we can move forward together, and we can come up with solutions that everyone feels like they're a part of. Since I've been elected, I've got 7 people appointed to advisory boards. And what's important about advisory boards is that the advisory board is a group of individuals from the community who create policies. And so, you know, I may have an idea as a commissioner, say, hey, we should do this. And then it has to go to a board and they have to approve it. So whether it's me saying I want us to consider, for example, I just talked about it. If we want to consider highly encouraging new development apartment complexes to put a community garden, Well, staff has to write up a whole policy. They have to look at it. Then they take it to a board, and the board says, we like this, let's tweak this, or we like it as is. But everything goes through an advisory board. And so intentional on serving and putting people to serve so that there's representation within the community. I'm very intentional on diversity. So when folks see, they're like, well, oh, she's black, it's only gonna be black appointments. No, I've had black, Asian, white, old, young. My intention on serving, I'm the youngest elected commissioner in Orange County. And so not just at the city of Orlando, I'm the youngest at the dais, but I'm the youngest in Orange County. And so I'm intentional on, like, I am the next generation. What are the things that we're missing? When folks ask me, like, what was the real reason when you initially ran? I'm like, where's the representation for young people? You know, they were trying to kill the nightlife downtown. You know, before I got elected, it was like, just shut it all down. And I'm like, then what do you do, right? You have all these buildings that are existing. Then what do? Like, you're forcing into a recession in the community if you're shutting out the businesses. And when the people think about businesses, they're like, oh, business owners are rich. It's like, take the business owners. Those are employees from our community. You know, a big portion of the employees who work, they live on the west side. Whether they live in District 5, they live in District 6, if they live downtown, they're definitely in the District 5 area. But they are actually people. I mean, like, I think there's one club that has 300 employees that staff them for their services. And you think about 300 people, when you are forcing people to shut their doors, 300 people will be without jobs. When we talk about keeping crime rates down, what does that do for our community, right? So it's important about, like, serving and realizing that the next generation needs a seat at the table. I am that seat at the table. You know, it was this hard hat that, like, I wore, and, like, what do we do, what don't we do? So for over 2 decades, Orange Avenue on the weekend has been closed. I came in and I said, well, let's analyze a couple of things. The shootings keep happening with the roads closed. People are having these street parties. Let's figure out and let's try something different. It was a lot of pushback. But since February, we've opened back Orange Avenue. Businesses can say that their numbers are up. I mean, it's not what it was 2-3 years ago before we put these after midnight policies in place, which after midnight policies were not me. I want to make that very clear. My intention is saving the nightlife in downtown, but how do we revamp it? How do we make sure that folks know if you come to do something bad, don't come downtown? Like, that's my intention, but everybody's welcome. Since we've opened up Orange Avenue, I hear great things. You know, folks are always people are scared of change. And I think that's always what hurts our communities the most. People are like, well, if we try this, what about? And what if? You can always make adjustments when something happens, and then you go from there. So since February, and I always say that let me knock some table, we haven't had an incident, right? It's been problem for, you're gonna have fights, but when we talk about what the root cause, the shootings, et cetera, we haven't had those. Uber is able to come and drop you off right in front of your venue. You can get out, you can go inside the establishment. What it is pushing people, go inside of establishments, spend your money, call your Uber, and go about your business. As opposed to, well, the Uber driver is gonna meet you around here. You don't even know if that's the right car, because you can have 5 cars pull up looking the exact same. So intentional about, like, saving downtown, but revamping it. And I can never, like, sit in front of anyone and say, like, downtown doesn't need changing. It does. You know, we still have a lot of incidences, but they're not shooting incidences. So how do we curve the negativity that's happened? I don't think you ever can. But I think what you can do is we can change the forward-facing narrative that downtown is not safe, because it is. It's extremely safe. I want everyone, no matter how old or how young, on any given night, I can go downtown and I'm like, I could park somewhere and I feel safe, right? I'm not like, oh my God, well, no, like, it's a place that everyone can come and they can enjoy. Figuring out how to encourage the residents who are living in the high rise, come downstairs, come enjoy something to eat, come enjoy, some good music. There's a lot of great things that are happening, but it's about the perception and changing that perception. And I'm very intentional on working on that so that we keep doors open in the nightlife.
I love the fact that you spend so much time even talking about downtown, because a lot of times people forget that you're the commissioner for that very, very, very important strip. That's the hub of a lot of stuff for Orlando, right? Kind of give us those parameters from where to where exactly in that downtown.
So I'm on Roslyn. So if you're on Roslyn, Lake Eola is not, but if you're on the west side of Rosalind, if you're where the View is, if you're where the Dollar General is, here's what I say. What most folks forget about. District 5 has 5 venues, 5 major venues. People think about, they think about Kia Center, think about Camping World. I also have the soccer stadium. I also have Dr. Phillips. And I also have the fairgrounds. I go as far as the fairgrounds. So folks forget that. I also have Valencia College. I have 3 Valencia colleges in the district. I have the main campus on Kirkman, the West Campus. I have an accelerated skills training in Mercy Drive, and then the downtown campus. I have UCF in the district. I also have FAMU Law School in the district. Folks forget about that. And then to top it off, I have Orange Technical School in downtown. So when we talk about the district, it's a really diverse, and people always think poverty. And I'm like, District 5 is not poor, right? Like, District 5 is far from poor. It has pockets of poverty. And I think every community, I don't care where you are in America, every community has pockets of poverty. I think we have to rise above that negative saying. We've got to get above the naysayers. And I would say folks need to spend time calling me, talking to me, reaching out to my office, and then just figuring out, like, what is it that I want to do? What can you offer me? And then when folks come to me and say, well, what can I offer you? Well, here's the opportunities. Here's the opportunities that we have. I believe in bettering. So I have a master's degree in public administration. I have a bachelor's degree in business management. I'm a proud Valencia alumni. I have an associate's. I have the best of both worlds. I understand government. I have the private sector. I used to work for the city of Orlando in the community redevelopment agency and the permitting office. So when folks are like, well, I get stuck. Okay, well, where'd you get stuck at? Especially our business owners. Well, where'd you get stuck at? Let me figure it out. I can pull up a permit and be like, okay, well, you probably need to work on this, and this. Okay, well, let me call and figure out what codes there are, because a lot of them I was a part of. So I may not be able to license plan reader, but I understand permitting. I understand the world. I'm going to hold your hand, and I'd say the life, pain, and tragedies that I've been through from being a business owner. Like, people think pain is, like, hard. Being a business owner is hard in this country, whether you're a nonprofit or for-profit. So thinking about, like, well, if I had someone to hold my hand through this. So, in that world of business, being able to understand. In fact, when I look at the way the permitting office functions now, I smile, right? Like, Classic Weekend is coming up, and we have a whole information sheet for peddler's license. Well, I was the person who created that when I was working in the permitting office. And I like the one sheet that tells you, hey, I want you to be aware, this is how you do business during Classic Weekend. I don't want you to get in trouble. I want you to do right. From my personal tragedies, from my husband leaving outside of a nightclub and being killed, I want to make sure that everyone is safe in this community. I want to make sure that the nightlife is safe. I want to make sure that no matter what you do, no matter where you are, whether you're going to business, whether you're traveling on our streets, you make it home safely. How do we make sure that our signal lights change? How do we make sure that we have improved crosswalks for our community? That's what I'm intentional on. I lost a 3.5-year-old son to health conditions. So making sure our kids have all of the resources that they need is really, really important to me. Turning my pain into purpose of serving this district has been really important. And it's not just about the district, it's about the city, it's about this community. Because people come and go, whether you're a visitor and I can help you and I can say, well, this might not be the business you like. Well, what do you like to do? Well, maybe you want to do this anchor store over here. Maybe you want to do behind the scenes. Maybe there's an e-space for you. Or maybe there's a whole building for you. Or if you're like, my kid needs help, where do I go? And being able to create opportunities for everyone. One of the things that I'm really proud of when it comes to our kids is we have a new middle school hangout program. And so when folks were like, well, what's the importance and what's the significance? Middle school is that age. If there's not opportunities for you, the streets are waiting for you. And that's just it. Like, I don't care which community you live in. So being able to create not just an after school, an after school, a 6 to 9 program, 6 to 9 p.m. program where our middle school kids can come, and we call it the middle school hangout. And so it's an opportunity to come, whether you need counseling service, you just need somewhere to, alleviate from the streets, alleviate from home, because some people are living in very, very high stress, especially our kids are living in high stress communities, and folks just don't understand that. Like, there is a different world between social media bullying to, you know, my mom don't have the most money, so I can't afford the sneakers and the clothes and everything that other kids are wearing. So being able to create a safe space and a safe haven for our kids has been really, really important.